Welcome to this week's episode of Everything Went Black. Known associate Matt Priso joins us. In some ways, I felt like this conversation was destined, inevitable, that Matt and I would sit down and talk. I've been an admirer of his for quite a while. I learned about him on Into the Necrosphere, and I've become a fan of all of his bands. Sick, Spells of Torment, Conspiracy X, his newest thing, Intrafear, all quality stuff. And I have been very, very respectful of his work ethic. In addition to being a prolific musician, Matt is also an incredible artist, painter, and you should check out all of his work. This was a very, very enjoyable conversation that we had, and I hope everyone else has as much fun as I did doing the episode. If you want to support the show, by all means, share it on social media, like us. But if you want to take another step further and show your support, head on over to Patreon. Check out the Everything Went Black Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can help support the show. You get bonus content. For $5 a month, you get bonus content plus early episode access. And I've gotten back into putting a bunch of episodes in the tank. So, for a while I was running behind, but now we're starting to get ahead. So yeah, check it out. For $25 a month, you can sponsor the show. Before we get going, I also want to shout out the other horsemen of the podcasting apocalypse. Kicking things off on every other Monday, we have Horror Wolf 666, brought to you by Brandon Legion. Up next on Tuesday, Into the Necrosphere by Jackie Smith, the greatest extreme music podcast in the land. Wednesdays, of course, is Everything Went Black. I return on Thursdays with Jeff Kashid and Mike Scandato for the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast. Mike's brother John shows up on Fridays for Spitball Media. On Saturday, we have a day off. Sunday, Carl Hikara brings us the second of his 2 episodes a week, the first being on Thursday, of Soul Knocks, where Carl gets into all things macabre, esoteric, and occult. Carl and I are deep into our collaborative project called Darkness Weaves, where we explore the work of Carl Edward Wagner. And our newest member, Cheyenne of the band Trivax, is out there with Iblis Manifestations. Matt Priso, it feels like this meeting was ordained that you and I would have a conversation at some point. And it's great. Yep. It's great catching up with you, man.
Yeah, man. Like I was, it seems like it's long overdue, and it's just, it's part of the Legion and part of our little family, so to speak, that we've got. So it is finally good to have a chat with you.
So, because you're in Australia and I'm here in New Jersey, there's a huge time difference here. And most guys probably listening to this podcast are like, damn, Mike had to get up super early in the morning. But I'm an early riser, man, and I think we spoke about that briefly. Yeah. And one of the things that I was able to sort of, pick up on listening to you talk on the other various podcasts is that you work in a field that's not too far removed from the kind of work that I do. So you work at a power station, right?
Yeah, currently, yes. So the largest power station in the southern hemisphere. So it's pretty big, 4 units. It keeps us very fucking busy.
Coal-fired station?
Yeah, coal-fired, yeah. So we used to work on machinery that dug it up, and now I'm at the other end where we just burn it and create the lighting for everyone else.
Funny how, I remember even listening to, I think it was the Joe Rogan Experience, where he was blown away that electricity is the result of basically just boiling water. And most people, they think electricity comes from some magic somewhere. And, the reality is that a lot of these things it's just finding interesting ways to boil water and shoot superheated steam at turbine blades.
Yeah, everyone forgets how to boil the water though.
Yeah.
To make the steam, like it, yeah. What are you going to do? It's gonna use some kind of resource, where it's in the ground. Predominantly, it will be all in the ground, but we're it's the human race. That's what we do. We can snigger and fight the inevitable, but as soon as those lights go out and the electricity is not going and people can't charge, their phone, their cars, that's when everything goes to mayhem and they want it back on. And it's like, well, you know, we got to do what we got
Now,
to do.
sort of a philosophical question is like, do you think like the fact that humanity seems to be existing at odds with its environment is the reason why there's like this conflict with people's ideas, and this sort of nihilism sort of arises because it just seems where these like beings that exist on this planet, but unlike all the other creatures that live here, we have all these other adornments around us. Like we wear clothes, we generate power, we drive around in cars, we use all these resources that you consume without so much, without out of balance of everything. Now, do you think that conflict sort of gives rise to like, a lot of people's like, nihilism, and sort of negativity and things like that?
Yeah, as they say, we're a creature of habit, but we're in a generation where it's almost like keeping up with the Joneses, you know, which and it's all money driven. Like we all want to be wealthy, we all want to have, the latest gadgets, but we also strive to become smarter and to create and invent new things, no matter what it is. We want to create, we want to be the best, we want to get rich. And
Sure.
in doing that, we need new ideas. So we push the elements, we push our ideas, and we create them when we bring them to life. And we're just, like we are self-indulgent. Like it's in our blueprint. Our brain isn't like an animal's brain. We communicate, we talk, we become knowledgeable. You know, we strive to be better than the next person. And we have goals. I think those, are big things as well. We're pressured from our parents, our forefathers, and so forth, to carry on a legacy. No matter what it is. And if you don't have those, when you're growing up, you don't have those tools and ideas where you try and push yourself to have them, which in turn, means working for, you know, working in a power station, working at Toyota making cars. It's money driven. We want to be wealthy. We want to be taken care of. So when we get to the age where we retire, we have money. And if we don't have that money, we're not survivalists. Like there's a small percentage that can, and strive and want to go and live in the wild, like we all do. I love it. If I could do that, I would do it. But I know that, like, we've lost the connection with the hunter gatherers and so forth. So we live in a world where we just consume. It's in our blueprint, and it's like, yeah, it's fucking up the world as we know it. And we can blame, there's global warming because we're burning coal and aerosols and everything else that's in the air. But at the end of the day, this is the human race. And as much as you can hate it, the way we are to, in this day and age, in this generation, it's just not plausible. We can reduce it, but it's the way we're living is how it is. And people will grab onto, the haters and stuff and say, oh, you know, like we got to stop burning coal and blah blah blah. And this is these little, they are small minorities. It's in everyone's mind, you know, and we're conscious of it. But I think everyone's got some common sense and some, you know, some social reality that, you know, we cannot survive because we don't have the mental capacity to do so. And we're saying, like, you hear some politicians and governments say we're underpopulated. that
Underpopulated.
Yeah, people are less these days, are only like they're limiting themselves to their needs. It's not you don't hear like back in the day where you had families of, you know, 7, 8, 9, you know, children. These days it's all about maybe just 1 or 2. So our birth rate is declining because we're self-indulgent. You know, this new generation, they're all about me and not about the family, you know, and it's hard to buy a house, a car. It's, you know, you struggle to be on this even plane. And if you have more children, it's more cost. You know, it's not rocket science. You know,
Back in the day, like people had such big families because like there's a pretty high chance that a couple of them are going to die like pretty
yeah,
immediately. You know, you'd have like 8 kids and only, you know, like 4 of them survive, you know. And then you need all those people to like, you know, help around with the
that's right.
house, all that
And
sort of stuff.
people predominantly lived on properties and farms, and they needed the hand, so it was like a family orientated thing. Like, you know, once the parents grew old, they need to be looked after so that, you know, they have plenty of children to take care of that, like take care of the farm, take care of them, and get that legacy keep on going. But today's day and age is very, very different. It's, you know, we could wish it was like that. We could wish it was like, you know, like, you know, the 50s and that, where, you know,
No, not me, man.
everyone's, you
Yeah,
know, like,
I'm happy to be living not on a farm or you know, all that
yeah,
sort of stuff. I mean, I like you and I can have this conversation over Zoom, you know, and or we could be
yeah,
living on a farm, you know, trying to grow rutabagas or something like that, you know.
yep. And yeah, like, I don't know where's the conversation end with that topic, because it will, you know, there's pros and cons, but I think the reality is like, get with reality because we're leeches of the planet. You know, we can't just all stop. You know what we do. Most of what people's living is contributing to the global warming, the, you know, the consumption of excess food. We consume so much these, you know, now that, you know, we need more cows and, you know, bigger farms and to maintain, you know, society. So, you know, it's a hard one, but at the end of the day, I need a job, you need a job, and, you know, I need to live, I need money, I need things, you know, to support my, you know, my child and, you know, and family. So, you know, I don't know, where does it end?
So I'm going to run down a list here because I've been following your work for the last couple of years, and let me know if I left anything out. Okay.
Right.
The first time I heard of you was you and your wife Kelly, slaves to the underground. It
Yeah.
was you were on Into the Necrosphere, so I think that was my first introduction. And then there was like a whole slew of projects. Okay, so not these aren't in chronological order, but you know, Sick is like the most recent one with some
Yeah.
releases. Spells of Torment, Conspiracy X, which is like more like an industrial metal kind of thing. And then this brand new thing that you shared, the video, and it is the name of the project Intrafear, or is that
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Intrafear? Okay.
So it's like Intrafear, you know.
So this like, and then of course all of your artwork, which is not like any other. It's very unique in style and the way it appears, because like, you know, within the world that we operate in,
Yeah.
you know, you look at artwork and it's like, okay, this looks killer, but like I've seen it before. You know what I mean? Like there's very few artists creating visual art that have a distinctive style. And I'm not trying to like, denigrate. There's plenty of
Yeah,
incredible art right
no,
now, that's out
100%.
there. But the Matt Priso artwork, you can spot it. You know what I mean? It's like it's got its own. It's not an illustrative heavy thing, but it's more. I don't know anything about art, so I'm using these terms like more
Yeah,
like
yeah, no, I,
conceptual. More of like
yep,
a emotive sort of vibe to it.
yeah.
So,
You know,
and it's not just black and white, which is awesome too. It integrates color and which is unique within the extreme metal world, really.
yeah, massively. Yeah, it's I never choose like what I'm gonna do. Um, like some pieces, it's very emotive. Probably every piece is just how I'm feeling at the moment, and nothing's my pieces are never planned. I'm not like I don't go. I'm gonna draw, a demon, with a castle behind, blah blah blah. It's just like I put the paint down and I use my fingers when I paint, so I don't use a brush, and I see things and then I go with it. So it's unique in that way, but I don't know. It's just my style of doing it, and I suppose I get influenced by many artists, and I'll see something and go, "That's fucking cool." Like I wonder how they done that, and then I'll just subconsciously try it, and it may come out in a painting or a drawing, or I can never explain it. It's like, yeah, everyone asks, but I just go, and I just sit down and just move the paint, and whatever I see is what I go with, and how it turns out. If it's good, you know, excellent. But there's a lot of it there, and I just go, that's rubbish.
Yeah, I was going to get to that because I though I'm not myself an artist and the visual form, I know a lot of people who work in that sort of with that medium,
Yeah,
and I know that they have done, like when someone's going to do a project, they'll like have all these different studies and like they sketches and all this other stuff, and there'll be different versions of the. It's almost like making demos for songs. You know what I mean?
exactly right.
Yeah. So I mean, I was going to ask you. It's like you see the one piece that you post or you're using, but I imagine there's like a whole other pile of stuff that did not make the cut. Is that true?
Yeah, there's definitely stuff, but there's also, like, if I have those, we'll call them the B sides.
Yeah, the B sides. Yeah.
Yeah, if I have the B sides, like I'll see it, and then I might go to my graphic design side of things, and what I'll do is I'll use that image and give it life with a more computer generated style. I'll add in some stuff. I'll do some shading. I'll try and bring it to life. Like, I don't want to like just throw it away, because there's probably, from what I see, I have a standard within myself, and other people will see it differently. There's many pieces I've put up, and I've just gone, that's a bit average, and should I display it? Should I not? And then I get more likes on that than I did on the stuff that I really do like. So it's all about interpretation on, the person actually, viewing the image, like they see things that I don't, and like when I show it to Kel, like she will say, "Oh, I can see blah 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 blah," and I go, "I didn't even see that." So, that's art. It's about interpretation. It is true, because yeah, firsthand, I see it all the time. Like, from what I see and what other people see is maybe completely different.
Yeah,
But
it's very subjective. That definitely
yeah,
subjective.
yeah, it's always dark, of course, because that's just my realm. But I try and make it in an emotive way. I don't do like a Cannibal Corpse style where blood and guts, and I won't do romantic, black metal, cover, because it's not me either. I like some. It has to be like solid and have some meaning and force behind it. Um, you know, I just want to have like a bit of punch in it.
Oh, I mean, like my impressions is that it seemed to me that with the introduction of color, which obviously in the extreme music world, it's like
Yeah.
extremes. It's like you mentioned Cannibal Corpse and the Vincent Locke artwork,
Yeah.
where it's like real colorful and like very, over the
Yeah.
top with color and everything, or like black and white and stark. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kind of stuff like when I look at your pieces, when I see the work that you're doing, it's like it's it's a third category because it seems like the color adds just like atmosphere and like dimensions to it as opposed to like being over the top or completely absent, and it is like a feeling as opposed to an illustration. You know what I mean? Like when I look at your
Yeah.
artwork, it's more of like it's resonating like more like on an emotional level than on like a visual level in some ways. And then you'll make out vision, certain images in there, but it's definitely more like textural. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think adding the color, like over the years, it was predominantly, I don't know, probably more black and white, and then I started introducing colors as I got, because every day I'm learning new things, so it was just like baby steps. Don't go all out and do a whole bunch of color artwork and it just looks shit. You have to you got to understand when you're learning to do the art, there's so many different elements like lighting and understand what different colors do with other colors, the shades, the point of view that you're trying to create, the theme. um, you know Color does make it pop. We're attracted to color, like visually, like we are just attracted to nice, bright, and colorful colors that really just stand out and do promote that emotion for the viewer to relate to it in some way, I suppose. But yeah, I think it's just for me, it's a progression. I didn't want to jump in and just do a whole bunch of color shit, and it just didn't even match. I had to understand how to incorporate it, not just slap it on there and say that's blood. It's red.
Yeah.
It's got to be done in a delicate way. You got to treat it with respect before you can adapt it.
What drew you to art? I mean, do you have like a formal background in it, or was just basically all
No,
DIY, that sort of stuff?
it's funny. When I left school, I wanted to become like an artist of some degree, and I had to go to a college here, and you had to do a test to get in. So I went there, and it was all I knew how to do was a 3-point perspective, which is like a landscape and a road going down and shortening up. And anyway, I did my rendition of it, which is if I probably look back at it, go, fuck, that's pretty shit. Anyway, I didn't get in, so that ended that. I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I like being creative. I'm not very good at drawing. So I started to design tribal tattoos for a tattooist in where I live. So I'll do like 4 pieces and sell them for $20. At the time I was kind of homeless, so that was my income. So I just do these flash, 4 pieces for $20, sweet as. But never really delved out. And it wasn't until probably like when I started really getting to like death metal and stuff when I was about 16, 17. And then I saw album covers like the favorite was like Cancer, Death Shall Rise album cover. And I was like, man, I want to get that tattooed, but it'd be great to draw like that too. And then I came across Rot Revore and their album cover and was like this demon. I was like, oh, that's sick. I'm gonna try and draw that. So I reckon I did it for a whole year, was like the face of the demon. And I got close, like I could do it, but it was, yeah, I think it was just like death metal album covers. That was like the inspiration.
Awesome. But because honestly, my opinion is like the genre of music that we all operate in, probably I think is the most creative out of all
Absolutely.
genres of music.
Absolutely. Yep.
It's not just musically creative, but also the way it ties in with the visual aspects and like, when you go see like bands live nowadays, there's a whole other production component to everything that
Yeah.
And now with technology, you can do really cool productions at a relatively low budget. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
what we do, what we're involved with, to me, is like the most creatively satisfying style of music. You know,
Yeah,
and
we're the one genre that keeps real art alive in that sense. Like we constantly utilize artists at a very high level as opposed to any other genre by far. You know, like you could actually grab all the genres and you know, you have some, I don't know, some just classic rock and stuff like that, where it's more about the band, who they are, and they're there, the image. So it's all about photography, to alternative stuff where it's like very abstract, but it's very still photography and graphic design. But with metal, we're just like, how can we create these fantasy scenes? How can we promote what we sound like? And an album cover represents that. Like it's just, you know, that's when you look at the album cover, you know straight away pretty much whether it's death metal, black metal, thrash. You know, even thrash has this like comical element to it, but
yeah,
it's still a natural art. You know.
dude, thrash is like one of the most. I mean, I'm going to say something controversial right now, but it's like is the most disappointing style of metal to me because I mean, you think about the roots of thrash, like Possession and like Slayer and
Yeah, man.
Sacrifice and all these bands. It's like really dark, like intense music. Early Metallica, like Ride the Lightning era Metallica.
Yeah, that word intense.
Injustice
That's
for
exactly.
All.
Yeah.
Injustice for All is my favorite Metallica album. It's like so dark and just heavy. It's not
Yeah.
maybe not sonically heavy, but like emotionally heavy. And then it just became like this like pizza party like genre of like good times rolling, and I'm just not into it, man. As much as
Yeah,
like
I'm not a fan of it either. It's probably because of that, because it became more of a, I don't know, I shouldn't say gimmick, but it's very hard for, I think out of all genres like of metal, thrash is a very hard genre to be original. You know, like you could go through, you could choose probably 20 albums of, last year's thrash albums, and I reckon that maybe definitely over half would have the same riffs.
yeah, I mean, and then even thematically though too, it's like everyone wants to talk about partying and like, I don't know, like I already can't even relate to it, you know what I mean? Because like it's just not where I'm at all. And
Nah, but like you
even
said,
like
like the early thrash had that feeling, that emotion, and that punch, like that
yeah,
seriousness. Like it was serious.
yeah, I mean there was like, there was like a satanic element to a lot of the early stuff and like Possession and early, even though Slayer, ended up not being, but at the time I thought these guys were serious, you know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah,
listening to Slayer and I'm like, oh man, like this is like these guys are serious. It's like listening to the first Black Sabbath records too,
yeah,
like you thought they were like all into, worshiping Satan and like darkness and all this stuff. And then somewhere along the lines, thrash, I don't know, they took a wrong turn somewhere, and it just became this like jokey, like very funny,
yeah.
fun-loving, thing, which I'm just not into, and
It doesn't
the
resonate.
dissection though, like it's like I know it's a big shift, but when I first heard dissection, to me they were like more like a blackened thrash kind of thing, like they were like had thrash elements, and at the
Yeah,
time I was like okay, cool, this is like intense music with like a sort of an objective to it as opposed to they're singing about bigger themes like bigger concepts.
yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
don't know. I don't want to slam too much on thrash, but it's just
No,
not.
no, but that's like we've grown up and watched this transform. That's the thing. Like we know what our thrash is, as opposed to the new age thrash, where it is, you know, the fun loving, you know, slap each other in the ass and have a good time, element to it. And I suppose that those elements that have carried on to like the likes of, metalcore and, that kind of style as well. So, it does, that's probably the closest transition to that side of like metal, that where it become just like we back in the day we used to like just the skin tight jeans, the black shirt, and the fucking long hair. That was dark thrash. That was thrash, man. That was like, yeah, like you said, like satanic and had a meaning. And but now it's definitely lost that, but it's also carried on with blue collar, I should say.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the various bands, like the sheer volume of material that you produce, it seems like on a monthly basis between your artwork and all those musical projects, it's like, I don't know, man. Is there like a time warp that you're living in where there's 30 hours in the day or something? I don't know how
Yeah.
the hell you do all this stuff, man. Do you sleep at all?
um I don't know, like I just do it. I find time, like I have a job, work long hours as well, sometimes, but um I just have that constant need to be creative and have an outlet. If I don't do it, I go mad. I have a big passion to help others, in this industry, in this genre, whatever, death metal, black metal, whatever. Like if you're you're up the starting band, and I know what it's like, with not much money. That's why I did free art pieces and stuff like that as well. um Offered, mixing, whatever, do guest vocals. I don't give a fuck, but it's just in me to help, but also it's therapeutic for me. And so I work on like a fortnight time span. That's probably the best way to put it. So I'll spend a whole weekend with music, and I'll create and I'll do my shit, and I'll spend 2 weeks listening back, criticizing, scrutinizing it, and then I'll go in 2 weeks' time. Sometimes I even listen to it until 2 weeks later, and I'll go, right, clear mind, clear ears, and I'll pick out whatever. But I work fast. So, for example, for the Sick album, it was literally each song is Friday night, and I'll just write riffs, just bang. Like to tell you the truth, like if you ask me to play the Sick album live, I'd probably go, fuck, I need to learn it because I don't know what I played.
I know exactly what you're saying because that's kind of how like not to interject my own things here, but like with the Tombs material, because like we're getting ready to record another album this summer, and
Yeah.
I have like all this stuff that I worked on, and then months will go by without listening to it, and I'll listen. Oh, damn, how the hell do I play that? Then I have to isolate the track and like figure it out. So unless you're
Yeah.
rehearsing it all the time, it just disappears,
Yeah, exactly. Like it's just, everyone's different. I can't sit down and just learn a song and that's it. And I don't know, it's just not in me to do that. I need to like get in the room, have all my shit ready to record, and then I'll just have the click track. I'll have, like, say with the Sick, I already had the drum track. I did things in reverse where I got Robin to do the drum track totally isolated. I said, this is what the style, and this is the duration, and I want 6-7 tracks. And then he just did it and sent them to me, and then it's boom. Like he just go, there's it's 240 BPM, that's 200, blah blah blah. So I'll listen to it once, and then I'll just go boom, put the metronome on, start playing.
He didn't have like a guitar reference track to play drums to. He just like went for it, and then you wrote the guitars around the drums. Is that how it worked, or no?
That's correct. Yeah.
Wow, dude, that's actually really interesting, man, to try it that way. That's kind of cool. It's very cool.
Yeah, I was like, just like why not? Like, because I know Robin, he's creative as fuck, and he's like the style that I wanted, and I just knew that like it's a challenge with his skill level. It was just going to push me to do something outside my realm of knowing what I can do. So it was like a good element to like really push myself. Like I don't want to let him down by writing some shit tracks. So it was just like bang, righto, that's the BPM. I'm just gonna go put the metronome on and just fucking let's go.
No, I know. Do you guys live in the same location, like locale, or like Because I know in
No, like
Australia sometimes
Robin's.
people live like 20 hours away from each other and work in
Yeah,
bands.
we don't live that far away, but it's like an hour and a half down the road.
Oh,
Like he's like 2 hours, I think, a bit further.
that's not
So
bad.
yeah, we've never met personally. Like I've we've been in the same room when he's played for one of his bands that I've went and saw, but never had a conversation face to face.
You know what, dude? That's kind of like it's interesting because that's life is like that now, man. It's like so
Yeah,
weird.
man.
It's like there it's like I don't know how I feel about that. You know what I mean? Like part of me is like really thinks it's cool because especially like when I moved out because I lived in New York for like most of my life and I live
Yeah,
out in New
yeah,
Jersey and when I first moved out here everyone was not like I would just walk down the street and see my friends. But now that I moved out here, it was like an effort to go see people,
yeah,
So now then it was like the internet, like doing Zoom chats or talk, whatever, messaging each other, and then pandemic hit and then I didn't see anybody. And then my circle started expanding, like, guys like you, Jackie, Carl.
yeah,
Like I've never met Carl in person either, but I consider all you guys like friends, you know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
interesting how that works.
It is the new way. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you resonate. Back in the day, you just had your circle of friends. They were it, and they weren't all in your mind frame of thinking, and it made things difficult, especially like spells of torment back in the day. Like it was very, it was good, but I remember like it was like he's not turning up and he's a dickhead and blah blah blah, and you had to make it work because they're the only guys that you knew that were into that style. But now you've got this, yeah, the internet and this other channel where you can find your own people. You know.
Yeah, definitely. And that's you bring up a good point because like when music forming bands was really local, it's like, you might not always get the best people to play with, and
Ah,
it's like, well, this guy's a sick drummer, but like, he lives like in another state, but nowadays you can collaborate with people across the globe.
yeah, man. It's like it's very accessible to do whatever you want, however you want, whenever you want. And that's what makes the genius of it now is like, yeah, we can have our day jobs and we can be busy, but we can allocate a time, that hour that we've got free at night to do blah blah, whatever it is, play, mix, vocals, doesn't matter. Like you can allocate your own time. It's just it's so fucking good. you know.
Now, as far as
Yeah.
like guitar gear and stuff, do you use a lot of like the amp modelers, or do you actually have like an amp or a cabinet and that
Yeah,
sort of
man.
thing?
So I record from amp to mic. So
Okay.
yeah, I've got a Valve State 40-watt Marshall amp, old school 1990 model. Um, it was ideal for Spells of Torment because with Spells of Torment, I wanted to recreate that first wave black metal. So it was like, just the classic, lot of air. It sounds live. The everything's organic, even the drums. So when Drugov recorded the drums, it was just with the iPhone. There wasn't no mic up. It was just like find the best spot and just record it. I want those big boomy kick drums. There's no click. It's just boom. You know, so it was like it was ideal for Spells of Torment. More of a challenge with Sick because I wanted a more cleaner sound. I wanted to
Yeah.
be, you know, so I had to fuck around with that. Like Sick took me a good 6 months to mix and master, and add all the sound effects, all the naturals, that I'd done to create the atmosphere. Whatever sound I could make organically, I did. But it was a lot. That was a mind fuck, I'll tell you that.
That Valve State, if I remember correctly, that has like that's a combo like tube and solid state head, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
And it has like that, was it the contour knob or something is on there,
Yeah,
which you can just
contour. Yeah, you got a few there, but I don't fuck with it because it's so delicate. It's so temperamental. That one little twist that fucking totally fucks everything. So I just have that on its own setting, and I'd have that run through like metal zone pedal.
There you go.
So
That's
it's
the magic.
very, very, very simple, man. I'm not a guitar, like I'm a drummer. Like you probably didn't know that, but like I played like drums for Spells of Torment originally, and then
I didn't know that.
yeah, so I was just a drummer, and I went on hiatus. I got married, blah blah blah. 20 years, lost it, didn't do fuck all, and then when I come back, it was like right, let's bought myself a e kit, practice day and night for like a year, like non-stop. Just wanted to had the fastest feet, and then we started a band called Hatescape, which is like early 6 feet under groove death metal band. So I did the first EP where I drummed. The second EP I drummed, but the band changed to like this metalcore shit, and I just couldn't hack it. Like they will tell me that I'm too extreme with my drumming. Like if you heard that, I'll send the EPs to you. And I had to leave, and it was like the band that I started and created, so it was hard to leave that. But yeah, so I kept on drumming. I did a few tracks I did a guest track for Borogor in the UK, for one of his tracks, and then I was like, Kel was like, I found a tape of early Spells of Torment, like 1998, this rehearsal tape. And Kel's like, man, you got to get this started again. Like, so I reached out, and yeah, really had no takers, man. So I went, fuck it. I'll quit the drums. I'll play guitar. I'll do everything. And I was talking to Drugoff at the time, and I said, do you want to be in Spells of Torment? Like, this band's been around since 97. He's like, fucking oath. So that's how it started.
Awesome.
I wrote Evil Power in one night. He done the drums the next day, and we released it the next day.
That's killer, man. It's
Yeah,
great.
man.
That's the beauty about it, man. That's like the thing that's like I got these other projects that I'm doing, Scorpion Throne and Begotten Sons,
Yeah,
and like that's all independent. Like there's no label involved. So it's like, you make it, you write the songs, you record it, boom, put it on Bandcamp, and like, like 5 or 6 people check it
yeah.
out. You know what I
How
mean?
good is it, man? How good is it? It's just the freedom. Like it's great to be on a label, and it's unfortunate that none of my projects. Well, Spells of Torment jumped on with Gutter Prince, Cabal, but that's probably where it ends, because they're just like a label that just does like this first album, just tries to help a starting band. So sometimes I go, it's a shame we're not on the label. We can just release the physical releases and stuff like that. Like I wanted something for Sick, hopefully, and it was close, but then I didn't want to have to, the outlay was 50-50 with the label. I was like, man, I'm not like, oh, I don't want to invest $5,000, into something that's unsure. Like I'm unknown, it's just underground, and there's not going to be that push to sell 100 fucking units of vinyl, you know.
Yeah, it's a weird economy, man, being on a label, and especially like when you get into like the P's and Q's of being like the economics of it, it's like
Yeah,
it's like real, it's very much exploitative, like with the royalty rates, it's like I learned this stuff real quick, like I don't know, like 10 or 12 years ago
yeah,
when we were on Relapse, where it was like, oh yeah, look, like we sold all these records, right? And then they're like, oh, you still owe us this because you're only earning that money back at like 14 cents on the dollar, basically, or 12 cents on the dollar.
yeah,
So
exactly.
they can take that 88 cents on the dollar and that goes towards their operation. You know what I mean? And you're still
Absolutely.
in debt,
They're a
because you
business.
haven't made it back.
That's right. They're a business, and they do make money as well. And it is exploitation of artists, and that's the downfall of it. So that's when for me, it's the reality. It's like it's just not something that I don't want to jump like do, because it's not feasible for myself. like, yeah, I want people to hear my music, as you know, with you as well, like every artist. But you know, I just enjoy making music and release it. If it's only 5 to 5 people, 5 of my closest friends that are listening to it, that's fucking fine, man. I'm stoked, and those 5 people go, that's fucking sick. That's all I want. Like, that's payment enough. You know.
Yeah, it is nice though to have like that
Oh,
tactile thing, especially
absolutely.
as an artist, you see a nice format with like the piece on it, there's got to be a way though, and I know there are labels too. Like there's not necessarily like, like your relapses or your metal blades or seasons of mist or whatever, but are still like reputable labels that actually
Yeah,
have a
definitely.
better deal for you
Yeah.
as far as like how the money's spent and how they pay you, and maybe the budget's not as high, maybe you have to end up like doing some stuff on your own, but I think that's also worth it too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, man. Like if I would go as far to say, I don't want nothing. It'd just be great to see my shit out there in someone's bed, like in someone's collection. It'd be like that'd be unreal. But it's not something that I need as well. But it's just great to have. It's great to hear people are hearing your shit and liking it. So the appreciation's there. It's just it's like my art. When I do art, I've done plenty of pieces for bands, and I just do it for free because for me, the payment is seeing my art on an album, someone else's album, and it's like that's for me. That's a gratification. It's like, yeah, that's it. That's fucking unreal. Someone's gone out and wanted to use like something I've done. It's I don't know. I like that. It's a good feeling for me.
Yeah, definitely I can relate to that for sure. So with the Conspiracy X stuff, those program drums on that?
Yeah, they're program drums. So that's my mate Ryan Hornby. So he's how can I say? He's like ADHD times fucking 20. He's just a manic individual. Like he doesn't give himself enough credit, and I try to bring in the best out in him, and he's put a shitload of releases with his only exists frequency band that he has, like a one-man band. But yeah, it was like something that he wanted me to do guest vocals for his stuff, and then it did the first track. I was like, fuck, this is pretty good. Like, if you want, we can start something together, um and see what happens and go for it. And it was just one phone call, and I said Conspiracy X. He's like, yep, perfect, and done. And then over the next 7 days, he sent me fucking about 1,000 tracks.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's cool, man. I've never been able to master the drum programming, man. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's like because I don't play drums or I don't know. It's something I was never able to like really get my arms around is how to program
yeah, I
drums.
think it's pretty tedious, but I think the new programs that are out now, it makes it a lot easier, but it's not something I do. I've never really wanted to be in an honest state. I've never ever wanted to use like program drums. It's just like for me, it's always like devalued the band or the project and stuff. But I mean, for me, it's a lot of fun doing the Conspiracy X stuff because it's like this really, I don't know, it's a little bit obscure, especially the first EP. It was like very, we just tackle, you know, everyday conspiracies and shit that's, happens in life. And, it's just, I don't know. It's just fun doing it. And it's fun just doing vocals. Like, for me, it's good practice with my other stuff. So, but, if I did say to Ryan, I said, let's do the full album this year. Like, start writing. This is how I need it. Like, more freedom for vocals. Like, don't just make it too fucking manic. I need some space, and I said base it off like the first track of the latest EP. Like, consume humanity. It's fucking killer. It's fucking. It's like I listen to that, I go, fuck, that is unreal.
That's the one I haven't heard. I haven't heard that first one. I gotta check that out. I
Yeah,
got
the
the
first
most
one's
recent.
very open your mind because
Yeah.
it's very different. But I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, I like a lot of stuff like that. That's like, but the thing that like when you sent me that Intrafear track, I was like, wow, like this is yet another aspect of like
Yeah,
what you're doing, and I was just like, and that is very much the kind of stuff I like too, like just this like, electronic and even the video, which you also I found out that you edited the video yourself and you shot the video too, right? That's all footage that
yeah,
you
yeah,
shot.
man. Yeah, yeah. That's another passion. That's like 30 years of passion there. And I was just telling Dave from Razor Eater the other day, I was like, when I was like 16, 17, like the PlayStation 1 had a program called Music 2000. And I used to fuck around on that all the time. Like you could make your own music and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I'd love to just do, because I was at the time, I'd keep it secret because I didn't tell my mates because they're all metalheads. They, if you didn't listen to metal, you're a fake ass bitch. So I had to do this secretly and not tell anyone that I had this little passion for like drum and bass and, you know, groups like Aphex Twin and Massive Attack and Left Field, all this still in the dark realm, like, but it had this different feel. Like it was just, I don't know, it was just, I loved it. So from that day, I was like, one day I'm going to get back to this. I will do something.
Awesome. I mean, the only track I mean, I don't know how much material you have, but the only thing that I heard was that the one track with the video that you sent me. I don't know how much more stuff you have like that.
Yeah, I've done so 4 tracks so far. So I'm going to do another 4, and then I'll release it to the masses and see what happens. But for me, it's just like it's something that it's another little thing that I've always wanted to do. Also with Sick. Like Sick is my, you know, all the bands that I grew up loving. The Emperors, the Mayhem, and Seth Real and Ancient, and all the greats. Like it was just this. I had to do this like I don't know, this tribute for myself to them. Like just bring back the feeling, the emotion that those early days of second wave black metal had, that sometimes gets lost these days. So
Yeah, there's definitely like I also hear like a big like Hellhammer, like Celtic Frost kind of vibe in there too. And
yeah,
yeah, it has like this kind of like very like raw, like old school like feel to it, which
trying out, get those
I
classic riffs
appreciate
out.
that. Even Venom, I would even go as far as going to first wave black
Yeah,
metal with some of the sick riffs.
yeah, like
So
I'm a big fan of the groove. I
yeah,
love my groove riff, so it's good to break it up. So like I imagine if I played this live, I want to see the crowd moshing out for a bit. you know
have you checked out any of that Venom Inc? The sort of non Chronos Venom stuff.
Yeah, not like I couldn't name a track. I remember listening to some of it, and I don't know. I can't remember if I got into it or not, but I haven't revisited it for a long time. And it was only until the other day I listened to, I think on Jackie's show, you just mentioned there was a story about Venom Inc., how one member left and because he was lazy, he didn't I don't know, some story. And I was like, and I was actually thinking I should go and revisit and have a listen to what they actually have.
It's actually, I actually surprised. Initially, I totally dismissed it. You know what I mean? And and it's like that. The guy who's playing bass and singing was in the band in the '90s. That Demolition Man guy, whatever his name is. So
Yeah.
he's. I mean, so if you want to really squint, you can say that okay, it's a legitimate version of the band because it actually features a member that was in the band. It's like all guys that were in Venom at one point.
Yeah.
But initially I dismissed it as being just like some reunion bullshit, that money grab
Well,
kind of
that's
thing.
what I felt. That's how I felt about it too.
But they put out a record a few years ago that the thing is called like Ave Satanis or something, and it's actually pretty good. It sounds more like Triptychon or something than like just
Yeah.
ripping off their old style.
Well, I don't mind that. I like Triptychon. I reckon
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of people bag it and shit, but I go, fuck, I love it. I reckon it's fucking awesome, man. And the film clips are fucking unreal too.
Uh, People don't like Triptychon, really? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I
I've
don't know.
heard.
I exist in my own bubble, man. I got,
Well, there's some purists out there that just don't want to have a bar of it. Like, and as I just go, I don't know what they hear. I don't know what the reason is. Tom G Warrior is Tom G Warrior, man. Like, fuck, it's
I
it's
saw
awesome.
them on their, I think it was their only tour of the States. Like, I don't know, like, I don't know how many years ago that was now, back in shit, man. That's got to be like 10 years ago,
Yeah,
easily.
right.
Yeah, they came over here with 1349 in the States. And I remember I was on tour. I wasn't on my own tour. I was driving and tour managing this other band.
Yeah,
And like I saw that the date was coming up. So I missed the New York show. And me and my girlfriend at the time went to the show in Boston. And I was like, gotta see Triptychon, you know. And dude, they
yeah.
were amazing live, dude. They were so good.
Fucking hell. Like, I haven't seen them live. They did play, I think last year. Was it last year? Dark Mofo, which is in Tasmania, which is the bottom end, little island off Australia. But they have like an annual events called Dark Mofo, which is like unreal. It's fucking it's about the dark. It's any dark art, like it's just of every genre element. But I'm pretty sure they played last year, and I was like, fuck, I wanted to go specifically just to see them, but yeah, missed out. So I'm kind of feeling I missed them, and I probably will never see them. But yeah, man, I dig this shit. I love it.
Also, you gotta give him credit too for like basically starting a band. Like it would have been easy for him just to call it Celtic Frost, you know what I mean? And like continue and whatever that name
Yeah,
brings to it, you know. I mean, of course, Martin is passed now, so it's those are the two key people. But to start a brand new band, basically, when the dude was probably like what, like probably like 47 years old or something like that, to be like,
yeah.
I have a brand new thing, even though I have this legacy of like Hellhammer and Celtic Frost, but I'm gonna do something else,
I fucking
you
rate
know.
it.
Yeah, it's
Fucking
just
hope.
like it's really cool, I thought, you know, but like it's but yeah,
He's
that's
got more
true. I
to give.
remember
That's
hearing
the
that
thing.
only like 50 people came to see them play in other cities, you know. So
Yeah, man. It's like power to him, man, because that's the thing. Like, you've still got more to give. And I think having the Celtic Frost flag, like if you went with down that road, then you got more criticism. You got more like naysayers. You got fucking, you'll have fuckwits just going, it's not the real fucking, original OG Celtic Frost. Is just like you just got bored and just doing some shit, whatever, you know. And it's not. I'm happy he did that, because it eliminated that side of things. But still, there was people out there going, just bagging it. And I was just like, well,
oh yeah, I mean that's the way it is, dude. It's like
it's not people. It's not. They're not people that are actually listening to it and appreciating what it is. It's just more of this fucking image as well, which is the human
well,
race.
I've got a real criticism about that, man, because like I was like actually I was listening to an episode of Carl Soul Knox, and Carl was talking about uh people just basically conforming to stuff. And ironically, like in the world that we operate in, everyone's wants to be we're all outsiders, we're like,
Yeah.
these lone wolves in the forest by ourselves, and like,
Yep.
but like going on tour and playing across the country in Europe, especially Europe, I meet people who have like the smallest minds imaginable about the music that they're into, that are part of the scene that we're in, because it's just like, they still listen to the same, just always the same bands. The guys with the patches, they'll have like the
Yep.
same patches on all their jackets, and it's like nothing new, nothing that's the newest band they listen to is probably 20 years old. You know what I mean? And that
That's
goes to guys like Tom Warrior, Tom Fisher, who are like, you know, created the scene that they're into, but yet because it's a different name and a slightly different style than they're used to, they just dismiss it. They just want to listen to the
yeah.
same
They're
songs over
very
and over and over again.
they're very one lane. it's very that's Europe. It's like it's always been that way. It's like I don't know. It's like like the family is telling you like they can't go out and venture out and see what the world's like. This is the lane and just stay the fuck in it.
Yeah, Germans are very much like that, man. That's like when you go to Germany, that's like what you get. You get like very like this regimented, very specific thing when you go there. I remember
Yeah,
like this has got to be like I don't know 8 years ago. We toured Europe. Us and Black Anvil toured together over there, and it was a horrible tour. It was like so poorly organized. You know, we played the worst places imaginable, and the whole point of going there was we played Roadburn, which was awesome. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
that was like the only, and we almost didn't make it to Roadburn. You know what I mean? Because of like some like ferry sort of thing getting out of the. I don't know, it's a mess. But I remember we played in some town in Germany, and this dude was like criticizing them because they have like round patches instead of square rectangular patches. You know, and I was just like,
I'm not surprised.
the Germans, you know.
It's like, yeah, it's like you've stepped back in time. Like it's, yeah, you appreciate their passion, but at the same time, it's just like you're not progressing with the outside world. It's like a communist metal party.
Yeah, totally, dude. You know, and they're like not afraid of telling you if what they think of your music if they don't like it. You know what I mean? And I was just
Yeah,
like,
harsh
oh, dude.
critics.
The first time it's like I'm like, what the fuck did you just say to me? You know, do you understand where I come from? You get your teeth knocked out for saying shit like that to people, you know? And I'm
Yeah,
like I was like, you get used to it though after a while. You know what I mean?
yeah, man. It's just like, yeah, it's a you have to be in that next echelon of success as a band to actually get a look in, you know. Like if you play whacking, like you're in, you know, that's your
Yeah,
ticket.
probably
And
you're probably right about that. That gives them,
yeah,
you know, and that's
you
like,
have
you
to
know,
really prove yourself. You have to be in that echelon. If you're not in there, then yeah, you're gonna get fucking smacked.
but
But
you
yeah,
know, it's still touring Europe is still easier than touring the States, man. No, regardless of all that stuff. You know what I mean? But
oh
whatever.
man,
That's neither here nor there.
oh man, it's a different world, but different, yeah, different fans, different, yeah, train of thought. But it's, you know, fuck man, like at one stage it was just, for me it was like fuck, I would have loved to seen like Coroner, Gamma Ray, Halloween, like live, like back in the day, like Rage, you know, all these fucking great German fucking power metal bands like thrash, you know, like, yeah, I think those days it was like just hasn't changed as well. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. They're a very, very fickle bunch.
So we're recording this on a Friday, and so what are you gonna do? You're gonna write another album tonight of material?
So
Like,
just before I was on here, I was like doing Intrafear stuff. So I was like fixing up the track 3 and 4. So that was going back and trying to tidy it up and stuff. And track 4 is giving me some dramas. I don't know what's going on with, but it was giving me dramas. I was getting the shits too. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Is it my fucking computer or what? But yeah, like the mission this weekend is to do another 2 tracks for Intrafear, and I want to try and smash that out so I can. I've got a few things I got to do. Like I've got Carl and Drugoff's project, which mix and master once he's finished that, and then probably start on the next Sick album. I've already got the drums ready to go with that. I've had that for the last 3 months of just waiting for the right time. The Spells of Torment. I was supposed to start that first. I was supposed to start at the start of the year, and I came in the room the first night, and this wasn't happening. I was just like, you know, I don't know what it was, what it is, but I was like, righto, just put it aside. It's not the right time. I'll get to that when it happens. But it's just about doing all the little loose ends and tidy ups, and you know, did little things for, you know, for Dave. With mixed and mastering as well. So there's a lot of things happening. and like the rest of the year, like I know Intrafear will get out, but I'm not too sure what else will come out this year. So people may be shocked, but there may not be nothing this year.
Doubt that,
Um, it's a brutal year straight up, man, with releases. It's just fucking what a like we thought 23 was like insane, but 24 is just like fucking Jesus.
Yeah, that new Verberus record is like that's pretty killer. That's what I've
Yeah,
been listening
man.
to a lot. That's like,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that
new
chronically.
level of creativity there.
Yeah, man. It's like it's you know, as you know, as a musician, like as you know, for your band, like you want to be pushing elements too. But it's like it's hard to be a standout with what's coming out, really, to be honest. Like it's like I'm gonna do my own shit as usual, but yeah, man, the quality of musicianship that's out there now is just phenomenal. Like um it's insane. Just go where these fucking people come from? Who are they? They're fucking incredible. You got the ulcerates and just they're like fucking mathematicians.
Yeah, it's beyond me, man. I barely can play my instrument, so when I listen to this stuff, it's just like, you know, it's well beyond my technical prowess to pull something like that off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you're like myself. Like we like music with emotion and power, and you know, as long as that doesn't leave and get too carried away, that's where I like to make music in that realm. Powerful music, not just because I can twiddle my dick around real quick and slap my feet around, doing some syncopated stuff. But as long as stuff keeps coming with just that right element and not get too carried away and start leading towards your tech deaths and stuff like that, which I do appreciate, but I want to keep these bands that we love to stay in that same realm.
Yeah, there's a short list of like super technical bands I like, but mostly I'm not that genre. Just kind of leaves me cold a little bit.
Oh man, I'll listen to two tracks and go, yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's not for me. I don't need to yeah, it's not my thing. I like that emotion, man. The dark emotion, emotive, um, with some fire in it, some meanings, good theme, good, energy. Yeah, man. I'll just try and punch out what I can this year, and like I said, if I don't punch anything in the next 6 months, he'd probably be going on, is he dead?
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Well,
like it's gonna be a good year still.
yeah. I mean, it's already a good year for music.
And plus it'll be super cool to do something with yourself.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that offline for sure, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah, Matt, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate this. It's been a long overdue and hopefully the first of many conversations that we can have about this stuff.
Man, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege. So I'm just thank you so much, and also for everything you do, man. Week to week, I always say to everyone I'm on, the Legion, man. It's like without you, like it's just this is what keeps our week rolling. We know what day you come, like you're talking, and makes our days much better. So power to you, brother.
Let's start putting up like graffiti tags or something like that. You know what I mean? Like how Black Flag used to do it in the 80s, like the
Yeah,
barks, the
yeah.
Legion or something. We got to start
Uh,
doing that.
We need to. Well, someone needs to do some shirts because I reckon that'll be a fucking top seller.
All
The
right, thanks for
Legion.
listening, everyone. We'll talk to you next week, man. Take care.